screaming now.
All right, what's up, everybody? Welcome to Phlox'em and KAGI Top Cut. We are in the first round of Top Cut of KAGI 14. I unfortunately didn't quite make it. It was a rough season for a few of us, long timers, I think, but we do got some good players coming up here. Gonna try to do casting of some of these matches like we've always been doing. I think they're trying to get everyone to at least record their games. We've got jfilipeg versus Jennenn. Jennenn was welcoming good. Jennenn was in my pod. I believe I lost that game. So good luck to them in this one, but we'll take a quick look at the decks here, and I believe they've got the game up already, so we'll do this pretty quick. jfilipeg bringing a GR deck, Dead Lava, Spawn of Kaolisk. It is a Chronometer, Ancestral Timekeeper, Synchronizer deck, one of those decks that after about turn 3, you're probably always calling Geistoid unless something is really desperate, and the one thing I would say is desperate is your Amber Control. Almost all of it is in Unfathomable here. You do have the Dark Lamp, and there is the one BR Geist. So if you get the TikToks going, you basically can just start BR Geisting anything from here you need, as long as you're able to get it in your discard. But I think that's going to be, if this deck has a weakness, that's going to be where you're gonna find it. The Untamed is not like incredible, but it does have the Spooky Charge, does have the Common Cold, which is going to be pretty rough against the Mars here. Invigorating Shower as well can help you just get all this Geistoid back in deck while everything else is in your discard. A couple Grave Pixies, some other Amber Pips and stuff in there, a little bit of creature control with the Amber Storm, and the Cauldron, which is always a fun one to do some interesting stuff. Double Covetous Hema here with the Trawler as well. Quickslick's Plague or Grave Master is a really interesting one. I've hardly ever seen or played with this one. Not super crazy. It is purging creatures from discard, which this deck having 3 Exhumes, you don't want your creatures getting purged from discard, especially things like your Ronnie or whatever. So going to be good for that. Also, because it is dealing damage based on the trait, all those Mars creatures, if you try to make a board with the AOA deck here, all those Mars creatures are going to be taking damage. Sorry, they have just about started. Over here on Jennenn's side, we've got an AOA deck, 66 Sass, Dismars Shadows. The Dis is pretty cool. Triple Exhume, double Binding Irons, Banish, double Not Finished with You. You've got the Dust Imp in there, Gub. Some decent stuff. The Mars is lots of creatures, lots of Azima Think Drones. Got the Mind Warper, Red Planet Ray Gun, Hypno Beam. It's hard to see Hypno Beam doing a whole lot here. You can take like a TikTok or a Timekeeper to try and slow that down, but all the GR deck has to do is kill that and get it back, and like this deck just recurs all of that stuff so easily that it's really hard for that to cause too much disruption. But again, a lot of what you're going to be trying to do with this AOA deck is probably just race before this gets its stuff set up. Shadow's not bad for that. You've got the Lights Out, lots of pips in here. You've got the Ronnie, some extra pips with these furtive investors, and special delivery. So you can maybe purge a TikTok. That does help slow this down a little bit, but I mean, you can see with the Sass and everything, probably favored towards the GR deck here, but you know, always see how it goes. Let's see, we've got. Okay, I think I have to change my names here. Yeah, I do. Okay, so we've got jfilipeg on the bottom. And then we've got Jennenn on top. Albino Cheese Monkey, welcome in. Can't type. Okay, so they're going to take a minute to look at decks here. I guess I could have told them to do that while they're waiting for me, but that's all right. So again, we've got the AOA deck up top here. I think in this matchup, game plan is just to try and outrace. There's not really a whole lot of things you can do to slow down or like make this not haunted. It's actually really interesting. I wonder if you actually don't want to play the Binding Irons, because that can actually help. If you find them really early, it's good because this deck doesn't get haunted crazy fast. It's just the double junk restorations and the dark memento if you find it. The rest of it is actually almost actively bad. Like you don't want to purge with quick slicks from your own deck. Invigorating shower makes you less haunted. Spooky charge makes you unhaunted. Warfleet makes you unhaunted. So like that is one of the other things is this deck will take some time to get set up with the Geistoid, because you just won't have much in your discard for a bit. But no artifact control in the AOA deck as well means both the Synchronizer, Dark Memento, and that Well of Memory. Just skipped over that one because it's not that good of a card, right? Does help prevent any kind of stuff going on with random discards, but not a ton of disruption here outside of those Binding Irons. And the Hypno Beam, you know, is a little bit lights out. Is kind of annoying, but we'll see. I'm trying to remember if Jennenn beat me with this one as well. It doesn't. That might be, yeah. Do you remember Albino? If that's the one from our match too? That sounds familiar. I think I played against someone's first deck also in one of our pod phases. Probably, yeah. All right, Mother Gun coming down first. Good creature control, you know, especially with how much the Vizimas are kind of interesting with that, but if you can I think you really want to get the special delivery out, but scary board of Unfathomable here already. Neither of these decks have crazy amounts of creature control, so this Addlefish is actually kind of a problem. We do see the spooky charge getting discarded by the discard pip. I didn't actually look how many discard pips there are. I think both the Geistoid cards were discard pips. Maybe all of those are actually. Do see the special delivery coming down, but we've got Knuckles with Elusive, with an Addlefish on the board. That thing is probably going to start causing some random discards here. It's pretty tempting to just reap and fight with this board, but we'll see if jfilipeg wants to go that way. But the special delivery is pretty big. Again, if you don't have ways of protecting those TikToks when they come down, that is very, very nice for slowing down that clock game plan, which again, this is one of those things, like I've not played many clock decks. This might not even be a deck that cares as much about that, as much as just doing like the Well of Memory, double junk restoration, BR guys stuff. The clocks are maybe just a bonus. Okay, chooses to go into Untamed there, get an Amber and a Witch of the Dawn down, or Witch of the Eye down, rather than fight with the Addlefish. Probably just assuming Jennenn doesn't have many ways to deal with all of this, and going into this, I think that's the case. You might see a banish here. Hard to choose which one to banish, or if you just pop the special delivery right away to kill this Witch of the Eye, but that is pretty rough if that's the choice you have to make. Yeah, it's gonna do it. I mean, I think you have to kill it there. Oh, did see the Winds of Death getting discarded as well, so probably just gonna plan to pick that up with the Well of Memory. Oh, and does have the banish too. Very, very nice. We'll see which one. Yeah, goes for the Addlefish. Okay. So pretty nice turn there for Jennenn. Again, it's tough. It's a witch, so you do kind of have to kill the witches. But we'll see if those TikToks come down. Gonna be missing that special delivery. And I don't think there's too much cycling. This isn't gonna be a super fast deck, especially with all the recursion. So all right, got the Synchronizer down. We've got a Junk Restoration, finding Well of Memory, but playing out some creatures, so probably just gonna hold that Well of Memory for now, yeah. Was there a way to archive it? Did I miss that? No, the archives is the Addlefish. So it doesn't get to proc the TikTok here, so Jennenn with a chance to kill it, but you already know that the Well of Memory is in hand. There was the Binding Irons, though, makes the Well of Memory less good. You have less cards in hand to purge to get things back. Amber is tied here. Okay, gonna get some nice Bloodshard Imp stuff going on. Killing the Dust Imp, getting some extra Amber, exhuming the Dust Imp, getting that Gub in the middle, so it's got some taunt now. But that probably means no kill on the TikTok. Yeah, goes to 7. Just gonna try to keep racing. jfilipeg going into Unfathomable. Again, we saw that's basically where all of the amber control is in this deck. But you don't need to go Geistoid for these to start firing. So TikTok's going to be doing some archiving here. Chronometer, not going to be purging quite yet, but it is killing off that stuff by reaping because of the Blood Shard Nymph, just not even worrying about dealing with it. Ooh, there's a Plague Master already. No creatures to purge in Jennenn's discard, so going to be purging something from his own here. Probably just hit like the Warflean, yeah. But again, that's one of those weird things where it's like it's actually actively making you less haunted if you're having to hit your own stuff. And does not deal any damage here either because there's no imps, there's no shadow stuff in there. Oh, yeah. Discarded the Beam of Forgetting. I know with all of the new UI enhancements on TCO, there probably will be more misclicks. It's really good stuff, but there are still some weird kind of funky things going on with some of them, so we'll just see how that goes for this top cut. Or if you just have a weird mouse, that could do it too. Sorry, I'm going to move my head so you all can follow the logs. That's like, I feel like I watch the logs almost more than I watch the board when I'm watching streams, so that would bug me if it was covered up. It's just what I'm so used to when I'm actually playing. I just sit there and stare at it. Okay, so end of turn. Oh, let's see. So it does discard the Echoing Death Knell. Bullet Eye gets flipped to the bottom of the deck by the Beam of Forgetting. And now we've got some archiving happening here. I don't know that it tells us what gets archived. It might be. That might be one of the new changes they made. Covetous Hema, Beam of Forgetting, and TikTok. Yeah, the whole way TikTok works is so interesting. The fact that it can archive itself from the discard is so strange. The UI enhancements, so you can see more on the homepage. I know they've done a lot of things on here to try and make this more, like, say more. Sometimes it actually says too much, like when you play an artifact right now, it says it twice. But there's also, if you'll notice, while you're playing, there might be more options, like when you're what is it? There was something they were talking about on TCO the other day, or on Discord the other day. But there's also some weird things where it's like the end of turn prompt, or like that thing where it has like a card pointing to another card might just get stuck there while you're playing. There's some weird stuff like that. But yeah, the UI enhancements are definitely subtle things. There's more of it that is sort of like the log and everything. But I think some of them are to give you some extra clarity on like actions you can take, or like, I think they might be, I don't know if it's in yet, the ability, like if you select to play a creature, you can actually choose the flank or hit like cancel. So there's actually a chance to not do just a misclick that's kind of weird like that. So, okay. jfilipeg going back into Unfathomable. Jennenn did get to check there and took jfilipeg off check with that Shadows turn. But some random discarding happening here, losing 2 Vezimuth Think drones, which is actually considered creature control at this point because of the Mother Gun. Finds another Hema. Did that get... Oh, that got probably bounced by Lights Out, right? Oh, no. How did that one come back? Is that the second one now? How did that one... Yeah, that is just the second one, I guess. Then Mike Holy come down. So just tons of Unfathomable getting seen here. I mean, there's been plenty of stuff milled and kind of filtered and discarded so far. Dark Memento is gone, but Philipeg is haunted now, and we know still has that Well of Memory in hand. So as soon as you kill all of this stuff, he's gonna be able to go into a pretty nice Geistoid turn, where you probably try to dig for Trawler, get that in the discard, then BR Geist it to just kind of make that an almost infinite loop once you get your Geistoid stuff down. Okay, so we got the lights out there, bouncing some stuff. Yancey stealing, Ronnie reaping, getting back to 7. Lots of amber on the board here still, so jfilipeg not very incentivized to play that Winds of Death at the moment. Although again, Trawler afterward does kind of take care of that if you're able to BR Geist it. Although you'd have to do that in the right sequence so it doesn't get archived by the Winds of Death. Jennenn can probably start hitting some of these with a Mother Gun. Plague Master is back. Purging Ronnie wrist clocks. That was one of the ones, unfortunately, going to be targeted pretty early on because all those exhumes with the Ronnie, it gets real annoying. Addlefish comes back down. So just a difficult board for Jennenn to deal with here. Lights Out's been used already. You still have a Life for a Life. You've got the Mother Gun, the Hypno Beam, Mars first maybe, but running low on creature control to deal with this sticky board. So this is very interesting. This is one of those scenarios where you're not really getting to see in game 1 what the Geist or what the GR deck can actually do. If it starts getting like the Geistoid stuff going, it's kind of getting to win with a secondary win con of just controlling the board really hard. So that's one of those things in game 3 that can really affect people's chain bidding on how they are kind of viewing both decks. jfilipeg kind of has a better idea of how much stronger that loop is. Jennenn getting a nice turn there. Does use this Mother Gun to take out one of those Covetous Hemas. And then gets down a Proliferator, which is not long for the world, but jfilipeg just reaping out here, getting some more discarding going. And there's the Trawler. Okay, so Jennen's real hope was that the Trawler had not been found yet. That is pretty brutal, kind of the nail in the coffin here, I think, because again, we still know that the Well of Memory is in hand for jfilipeg. So getting to actually forge past this is going to be real tough. Especially when you already don't have a ton of creature control to even deal with this. So you might actually be in a place where you almost, yeah, you kind of just need to make enough amber to forge again and just leave these alive. Maybe you kill off this one or something, but yeah, this Geistoid is probably going to be plenty of amber here. Or maybe not amber yet. It's the setup turn with all the clocks coming down. Got both TikToks now. So now you can use these TikToks to start archiving a bunch, so you have a ton to purge with the Well of Memory, so you can kind of do some much bigger plays there. TikTok 1 goes down. Duke Carnage, welcome in. We're on game 1 here. Everyone else has been using the old Final Refrain overlays, so I figured I'd bust that back out again, show some scores. All right, we get TikTok, Junk Restoration, and Dark Memento getting archived there. And then second one grabbing itself, Nemo Leech, and Covetous Hema. Interesting. So going for more of the Unfathomable. Again, just going to try to reap with this board and use the Geistoid a little bit more passively, because don't really need to do more than that at the moment. Jennenn going into Mars here. The Sniffer use makes me think there's probably a Mars first coming. I don't think we've seen that yet. Maybe ready and fight into not the Covetous Hema. Hypno Beam. Could be interesting. Yeah, the clocks are interesting. We don't get to see those super often, but they can also, like, depending on the game plan, they can make for very long games. So these two decks though have a pretty decent power gap in them, it seems. So we'll see if we actually get some longer games, maybe in game 3 or not. But this one, the AOA deck is kind of fast anyways, so game 3 is probably going to be a little bit more of a blowout, depending on how the chain bidding goes and the draws. We'll see. Could be really close. Chain bidding for this is actually going to be really interesting because the GR, if the GR is the one getting the chains on it, which seems likely at this point, it wants to get haunted pretty quick, and it doesn't do that very naturally. And so those chains just make it that much slower to get there. So it might not be as many chains as you would think after watching like this game. I think it'll be really tricky, but we got to see how this one pans out, how game 2 goes, and stuff like that. Yeah, this one seems like a pretty rough spot for Jennenn at this point. The trawler, especially with 2 left in draw, we know there's basically no way not to get the BR Geist at this point for jfilipeg, and then be able to basically loop that with your clocks. So I don't know how Jennenn forges past that. Now we've got the Dark Memento. So this is the one thing that can really change the chain match. If you find this early and just kind of force yourself to be haunted every turn, that's a very big difference. All right, well, memory coming down. Gonna see some stuff getting purged. And this will be pretty decent turn. And this might actually be, let's see, we've got 6 on the synchronizer, so not gonna be able to do the actual time walk here. Yeah, because it needs to be 12, right, on Timekeeper. But this might be more Amber than Jennenn can deal with anyways, with the Ronnie being purged. This one does not do a ton of other Amber control outside of using some creatures. We do have Mind Warper down, but... Interesting. Only purges 2 cards there, so already has a massive hand of Geistoid, I think. We haven't seen too much of it get played here. There's a Junk Restoration. Okay, so BR Geist was right at the bottom, basically. It does find it here, though. It might be our Geist, the Plague Master at this point. Just kill the Mind Warper, purging another Mars creature. Just to make it a sure thing, but I mean, with the rest of the Geistoid, that's going to get played here. Probably have as many options as you need. Although, are there any more pips in Geistoid? What do we got left? Oh, maybe not. So might be stopping at 7 here. Unless you just be our Geist like a Grave Pixie. Goes for the Loyal Packmate. Nice. Okay, clocks start coming back down. Let's see, the Mars first has not been played. So I think Jennenn can technically still take him off check here. If she's got the Mars first. We'll see. I don't think you can do it any other way, though. Hypno Beam doesn't really... Oh, Hypno Beam is gone anyways. There's nothing really to exhume. And then you're set up for basically a really difficult to stop Timekeeper key cheat basically next turn. So because you can actually archive it with... All right, so if she's got Mars first and then fights the Collector Worm here, does technically buy a turn. I don't know what you do the turn after that, but it is there. Does have the Mars first. Deal some damage to Trawler with the Mother Gun. Puts an Amber there. Oh, you can't fight it because of the Loa Packmate. Never mind. Yeah, so that's going to be the Timekeeper key cheat, basically. Yep, another Amber goes on Trawler. And interesting, so jfilipeg actually did this all in a way that he didn't actually archive with any of the TikToks last turn, just so they would be there and be able to reap. Yeah, and there's the 14 time counters on Timekeeper with the extra turn there. Gets to just forge at the beginning immediately, and that will be game 1 to jfilipeg. our scores here, and then we'll go ahead and update our deck names. Let's do the reversal match. Ah, I did it the wrong way. Okay, there we go. Okay, so jfilipeg is up 1-0 over Jennenn, but it looks like a tough match for this AOA deck to win. This is real tricky. We did see mulligan from Jennenn. jfilipeg kept his hand. Junk Restoration right away. We see the Synchronizer, so that's going to start loading up pretty quick here. Discards the Waste Knot. And just discard or plays the BR guys for Amber. Some Untamed stuff in there is good. So Dust Imp gets to fight it and then Exhume it. Gaining some extra Amber. Gub coming down. So jfilipeg just on that train to try and get as much Amber as possible, as fast as possible. But we'll see. No different game here from the GR deck. None of the Unfathomable coming down yet. Getting that sort of oppressive board presence. The Addlefish is just so nasty if you don't have a way to deal with it. It's one of those things where it's like you forget about it because GR does so much other broken stuff, and then you just have one that you can't kill, and all of your creatures are like 2 and 3 power with elusive, and it gets bad real fast. All right, Jennenn going back into Geistoid here. Finds the Timekeeper. Second Junk Restoration coming down. We see, honestly, a bunch of stuff you're probably fine just leaving there. Does grab the Trawler just for the insurance, but yeah, at this point, I guess you can actually archive with the TikTok this turn if you want to. We'll see. The sequencing of this is always interesting if you're not used to playing with the clocks. You got to make sure you're kind of choosing which one to activate when. We see an early Well of Memory here from Jennenn. Gonna purge Circle Speak and Echo Guardian. So one of those Amber control cards that is a little bit scary, but I imagine you're just gonna grab the Junk Restorations here. Just keep digging through the deck, get your board filled out, and then just start archiving everything. Okay, goes for the BR Geist. Also a valid play here. Maybe get that Loyal Packmate down, stop some fighting. Gets the Dark Memento. Some more discarding here. Discards the Trawler. BR Geist for... got a lot of options there. Does go for the Trawler. I'm just going to start the Amber Control game early. I mean, it's difficult enough for this deck to kill. You can bounce it, but it's kind of just another thing for it to have to deal with while it's trying to deal with these clocks. The interesting thing about the Timekeeper being down early... Okay, so TikTok should be archiving here, right? Yeah, so it gets Junk Restoration, BR Geist, and Junk Restoration. So it does not archive the other TikTok. But there's not really any Purge or anything in this AoE deck. Some of the Mars coming down. Red Planet Ray Gun is some other creature control. Again, we saw how important that is in this matchup for the AoE deck to find. But we might not see a different house called for this GR deck for the rest of the game. It's probably just going to be Geistoid. So Well, memory getting blown up here. Snow in here somewhere, so it can't really... Oh, you can just archive it with a TikTok. These things, pretty crazy. Uses a synchronizer there to put some counters on the TikTok, so probably doesn't have the second one. Junk restoration here for no more Geistoid, so a bunch more of that unfathomable coming down. See if she grabs any of it, but at this point you're probably fine. Not. There's the second junk restoration. Chronometer, Winds of Death, Grave Pixie. Gonna grab the chronometer here, start purging stuff from discard. You might actually just fight. Oh, you can't fight the Dust Pixie, I guess, because of the gub. Reaps, BR Geist, man. Yeah, this is tough. Gets the second TikTok back. It's hard to outrace the Geistoid loops. Can have a lot of expected amber, and this just goes crazy. Archiving BR guys, junk restoration. Does not archive with the second one. Interesting. Okay. So that means no Well of Memory for this turn, and almost flipping the deck. Doesn't matter as much now with the Dark Memento, but it does limit your archiving options. And there's the Trawler getting archived rather than the Timekeeper. I think, yeah, I mean, obviously jfilipeg knows the deck better than I do. The Trawler is almost impossible for the AoA deck to forge past based on how the GR deck can recur it almost indefinitely. So I get that. Timekeeper can fire this turn basically, right? Yeah, if you want. So if Jennenn can get to 6, the game is just over here. Which, yeah. So I've got the free turn. Got 3 Reaps and 2 Junk Restorations and the Beergeist. Yeah, will be 6. So that should just be the game. There's the Beergeist. There's the second Junk Restoration. You know what? Sometimes I'm not sad about fast games, right? But this will be interesting. Yeah, number of chains. That's what I was gonna. You all get to guess. 10. I mean, this was a very fast start, right? Like this was junk restoration right off the bat into some other stuff you want to see. Well of Memory early to keep the junk restorations going. If you see the Untamed stuff early, if you see some of the other unfathomable stuff without, yeah. Yeah, it's a crazy deck. Clocks are one of those things that were just like, they were insane if GR didn't get overwhelmed by the other insane stuff that was going on. Like if we didn't have Wadka and like the Mars Rule of 6 stuff, we would have probably seen clock decks be one of those like super competitive things. I think there were still some. I'm trying to remember if they ever did stuff in like Alliance or anything, but yeah, chains are tricky call. What are you all thinking? See 10 and 12. I would be scared to go much past 12 just because I do think, yeah, especially because of like the creature control. Ashitaka's got a deck that doesn't surprise me. I feel like that seems like a deck you would love. The creature control in the GR is not amazing. The Winds of Death can actually be pretty bad for you to play if you have to use that for creature control. And the Amber controls are all in Unfathomable if you don't find the BR Geist in the GR. There's just so much where it's like 12 change could be a runaway for the AoA deck. or the GR deck finds one of like 2 or 3 cards and just turns it into like there's a no-win situation for the AoA. I think that's what's tricky is there is a point of the game where the AoA deck just literally cannot win. At least that's what it feels like. Oh yeah, so you've got like the poltergeistoids or whatever. Is it that one? To be able to bring back the timekeeper. Yeah, that's where, I mean, like that's like just a crazy pod to have all of those together. All right, Jennenn coming in with 7 chains. That's a pretty good starting spot. Eight, so not doing any big jumps here for jfilipeg to start. Jennenn gonna jump it up 2 to 10. Oh, sorry about the mic bump. Let's see, I gotta do my scores. Top player score, Jennenn is now at 1, so we are 1-1, tied up onto our chain bidding game. And we will see who is playing which deck here. Jennenn bumping up to, or jfilipeg jumping up to 12. Ooh, right to 13. 13 is tough to not pass on. But I feel like jfilipeg wants to play his deck because he knows how to set it up to where it basically can't lose in this matchup. I feel like Jennenn played it well, so she probably has a decent idea of how to do that too. But we also just didn't even see the spooky charge have to be a thing. So like that's one of those cards where like it might be close, but then you just win with the spooky charge because you've gotten to haunted or whatever. And it's just like, oh, I can't stop that because the AoA deck isn't doing like taxing or anything. So all right, so jfilipeg is Jennenn passes at 14 chains, so jfilipeg is on the GR. Each one playing their own deck here. Yeah, I think that's a pretty decent bid. So you're going to be on 3 cards for 2 turns. Which deck is going first? Oh yeah, and this one isn't going first either, so you don't get to see as many. Jennenn with a mulligan. Jfil keeps the hand of 3, so you're going to be on 3 for 2 turns and then up to 4. It's scary. I think if you find... Man, it's even tricky to play the... Well, so like Well of Memory does almost nothing for a while, right? Because you have to have cards to purge with it. I was going to say, do you play the Dark Memento if you find it early? Because now, if this discards like Timekeeper or TikToks, if this discards both of your TikToks and your BR Geist, you're in a lot of trouble. So this could be exactly what you need to get you haunted so you have all of your effects going. Yeah, the Worm turn 1 is scary too. This deck does not have too many ways to deal with that, right? But the trick is Mars is not a house that's gaining you a lot of amber early on. So it's kind of, if you're able to reap a bunch, it's not bad. It's definitely not a bad starting turn here. Untamed could be, oh, let's see what's discarded. So there's a BR Geist. There's the Winds of Death. And the Synchronometer. Oh, Invigorating Shower. That's one of those other ones we didn't really think about too much. So it gets all that Geistoid back in. Not a bad turn. Gets the Cauldron down too, so that's some basically free efficiency. All right, time to turn on the gas. Let's see what Jennenn can do here. Ooh, Proliferator is also very nice here if you find that Mars first. But only playing 1 card a turn here could be tricky. Goes back into Untamed right away. We see the Waste Knot's gone. Oh, the Common Cold that kills all the Mars. Wycolia under the Cauldron, not a huge deal, but that Common Cold is rough. Yeah, that's that's not what you wanted to see there. Could still exhume some of them. Maybe get that Proliferator back, start building them back up, but yeah, that Common Cold is nasty. There's the Exhume for the Collector Worm. That also very fair pick here. Yeah, that card is just silly, right? It's like, what if we had a card that did nothing except hated on one specific house in the game? that some people love. Okay, very, very fast Unfathomable turn here. Getting down the Addlefish. Grave Pixie going into the Cauldron. Stopping the key with the Hema. I think this Collector Worm. Oh, and the Trawler too. Yeah, nice turn there for jfilipeg. Getting 3 cards is not bad. So, I mean, you're going to be seeing so much Geistoid now. There's, out of 18 cards, 11 of them are Geistoid. About 10, I guess, with this here. Oh, yeah, that's true. It does combo with Rot Feast. Oh, the Binding Irons. That's another piece to think about with the chain bid. That does make you slow again. Yep, just fighting off stuff here. Not getting to check, though. Oh, it gets the Exhume back. Gets the Dust Imp. Does get to check here. Get a Geistoid call, though, for jfilipeg. BR Geist hurts a lot here. There it is for Covetous Hema. I think Jennenn has a good shot of just starting to archive these with the Collector Worm, though. Synchronizer coming down. Oh, and then going to be able to Cauldron a bunch more creatures out here. So Jennenn now on the back foot as far as creature control. Going to need to find some stuff. Hasn't called Shadows yet, so some bounce here could be not too bad. But bounce with Life for Life could actually be really nice here. BR Geist is gone. Yeah, we'll see. This will be pretty important turn for Jennenn. Yeah, that Cauldron just getting so much value. jfilipeg up to 5. Still on 11 chains, though. 4 cards in hand. Could see that second Binding Irons too, but 2 Exhumes gone already. No Ronnie yet, so not really getting some of that extra Amber control value you want. I do see the Mars call here. Probably picking up that Trawler. Sounds pretty great. Mars first is tough. Oh, you can actually get both because the Hema is elusive, so you get to fight into that for free. Yeah, Trawler's archived there. That's awesome. Red Planet Raygun on Think Drone. So going up to 8. There's a Geistoid for the Junk Restoration. Does find a TikTok and a Dark Lamp. See if he's got anything else. Yeah, this is going to be really close. Oh, there's the Well of Memory. Can only purge one thing, though. Yeah, but going to get back the BR Geist to stop the key. Oh, goes for the Winds of Death. Yikes. Winds of Death here is scary. Does give up the key and puts a lot of Amber in Jennenn's pool. And this TikTok, it's going to take a turn or two to still get going. So let's see what all gets archived here. Dark Lamp, Grave Pixie, Addlefish, Hemagub. Interesting. I don't know. If this thing gets killed, it's a really tough call. I almost want to keep that board, except you don't have a good answer for the Collector Worm. There's the Ronnie getting to steal 1, stopping the key, going up to 8, and the Life for Life on the TikTok. So now you're out of range of one of the Hemas coming down. And Furtive Investors for some actual extra Amber. Yeah, it's a tough call. I mean, if you don't have any other way of dealing with the Collector Worm, I think that also ruins your game plan because it just sits there and eats all of your important creatures that you need to be comboing with. You can maybe spawned with a decent board here, but I mean, nothing you archived was Geistoid either, right? Dark Lamp was. Blows up the well. Gets a Flume Thunder Cauldron. I feel like this Cauldron, like, it's getting a bunch of creatures out of the way, But you kind of want to be playing your Geistoid cards at this point. It's like you need your other clock cards. There's Junk Restoration for TikTok and Chronometer. Did pull the archives there. Forgot to mention that. Timekeeper is down. So does get the archive with the TikTok here. So now you can pick back up the Well of Memory and BR Geist and Covetous Hema. Interesting. Does not grab the TikTok again. Truly B3 Kagi. I mean, Jennenn is going to be pushing here. Discall means not stopping this key unless she's got the third exhume. Fair game on the 8-card hand. Hits almost... Oh, it hits nothing because of the draw. There's nothing in the draw pile. But it does get some steal off of the Ronnie there with the exhume. I agree. I can't fault anyone for typing. I'm so bad. Okay, so Jennenn up to 7 here. We know jfilipeg has Covetous Hema. Is that pretty much it? And the weird thing is he picked up the Covetous Hema, so it has to be able to discard it here. Which I think... What discard pips are left? Junk Restoration is in the discard with a discard pip, so you need to get it with your Well. Discard it, and then BR Geist. I mean, like, jfilipeg can probably stop this key. Question is, can you stop the next turn's key? Because, like, what other Amber control do you have if Jennenn just reaps or plays Amber past that? Right, and Collector Worm is still... Well, Collector Worm is in archives, but you can't really... Oh, no, Collector Worm is just dead. Oh, no. Oh, it shuffled back in from the not finished with you. I was like, I know it was out. That's why jfilipeg played the Winds of Death. But like, I mean, Jennen's gonna have like the lights out is really bad because that just bounces this without you getting the counters. Yeah, I was gonna say there was an argument like the Ronnie getting you to check is very good. There was an argument for exhuming the Collector Worm there maybe just for the pressure. But now that it's shuffled back in, we haven't seen Mars first yet, so you can still also just Mars first this Ancestral Timekeeper if you can draw into that. So it's a tough spot. I mean, jfilipeg's gonna start doing like this is gonna be a really big turn. The Geistoid's gonna gain plenty of Amber and stuff, but you have to have an answer for the 7 Amber in there and however much Amber next turn Jennenn's able to make. The 6 cards in archive, but one of them is the Trawler. And so that's a really tough call of if you want to give that back. Okay, so Ghost Geistoid, not a surprise there. BR Geists, oh yeah, this makes sense. So you BR Geist right away, and then you can get it back with the Well. But what do you hit here? Gets a TikTok, okay. Start doing the archiving. There's the Well of Memory. And how much do you purge here? Like, do you want to flip the deck here? Purge is 6. All right. One, two, three, 4, 5. I don't know if you grab the Winds of Death or like Shower. Maybe you do actually grab the Shower so that when you flip the deck, this doesn't burn you. Here, guys, Junk Restoration, TikTok, Circle Speak, and Junk Restoration. Oh, the Circle Speak. Okay, so some extra Amber control there. Jennenn is haunted. And I don't think she can get unhaunted with the other not finished with you. Yeah, BR guys for the Covetous Hema. Have to do that to stop the key here. So Jennenn, to get past the Circle Speak, needs to get to 8. Lots of archiving going on here for jfilipeg. Let's see what gets picked up. Just BR Geist. Doesn't flip the deck because he has so many chains? Wait, that's not right. Why? What am I missing there? Why did he not draw? Oh, archive from hand. Okay, that's why it only said one card too. That makes sense. Yeah, so that happens at the end of your turn, which is after your draw step. Jennenn bursts up to 11. I don't know. This deck can deal with that with the Trawler gone. Where's the other? Yeah, there's 2 Hemas right now, right? I think that's the thing. You got to play. Did one get purged? No. Yeah, there's got to be 2 Hemas now. But again, lost the time counters on the timekeeper. 6 isn't enough to fire it in one turn because there's only 4 clocks in the deck. Does archive more here. Doesn't gain any amber though. But this is where we also haven't seen the spooky charge, right? But I think you're not getting to 6 amber and untamed. Oh, that's what you're saying. Oh, I don't know if that's what you meant when you said spooky. If you're talking about the spooky charge or just that it is a spooky game. We've got Phlox'em and Echo Guardian under here. We did get the redraw this time, but Dark Memento is going to discard a bunch of stuff here at the beginning of the turn to get haunted. I guess, can you kill this? You would have to have, what got archived? Just stuff from hand. Yeah, we haven't seen it, so that's probably an archive along with the Waste Knot and oh, what's the card? Amber Storm. So those cards. Are you still 1 short? That lets you kill this. That puts you to 5. You'd have to have the other Grave Pixie. Yeah. I don't know that there's anything you can do about that. Unless you can kill your Ronnie and then steal some of that amber. But I think that might be... Yeah, man, that's just one of those things. We didn't even get to see all that this deck could do to like keep itself from losing in a game. Let's see if that's where we're at. Oh, we do get to see... Yeah, there's no Untamed cards in here. So he was just archiving Untamed at the end there. Most likely from hand. Right? Yeah. Unless he didn't draw. There might be... I should have looked at what was in there before he reshuffled. Because I don't remember if... I think the Waste Knot was in the discard. And I don't think he archived it. Goes unfathomable. Jennenn not getting to check there, though, is really brutal. There's the tendrils. Bounce everyone. Yeah. Gonna get some draw here off of the waste knot. Destroys the flumph. Gets to 7. Jennenn might actually just be out. Oh no, the Ronnie got bounced. But after that, spooky charge. Spooky could be in the archive, or in hand. Because there were some things archived by the TikTok from hand. So we didn't get to see what those were, so good chance he snagged that. Ronnie only takes him down to 5. Was it in the discard on the first playthrough? I might have missed that too. He got to 0 cards in the draw, so he was archiving. BR Geist is probably also... I don't know. That didn't get... Yeah, we didn't really get to see anything that was archived from hand for a couple turns there. So there's 5 cards in archives. It's probably like BR Geist, Spooky Charge. Yeah, this Dark Memento ends up being pretty nasty in the end. Go Shadows. So gonna get the Ronnie value here. Steal 2. The Bullet Eye down. Knuckles Bolton. Probably not even going to get to check here, though. I think we've seen most of the Amber pips. Yeah. What else is left? Yeah, doesn't get to check. Crazy. Yeah, there's the Untamed call. Takes the archive. Almost no Untamed in the discard again. So, yeah, there's the Amber Storm. And the Spooky Charge. There it is. All right. Close game, though. Very interesting. But again, that's where, oh, man. Tricky deck. Tough to... I mean, is interesting in that the AOA deck had very few answers to anything this deck could do, so it just had to try and outrace and deal with the answers it could. She was able to get the Trawler, which is really big, very, very close to getting there, but the TikToks just give you so much versatility. And so that's where jfilipeg knowing what to grab when was also huge, because like tried something, it didn't work well enough. I mean, it was close. I don't know what else you would have done there, really. Like the Common Cold was super unfortunate when that came down. Oh, the Binding Iron's turn. So didn't get to check that turn. Yeah, that was the one I was kind of wondering. But that's where, like, it can be easy to sort of... I mean, you do have to deal with the clocks. But this deck can hit you from other angles. The Circle Speak was rough as well. Like, it was... I guess just having these two. And we don't know. I don't remember. One of these was archived off of Winds of Death. Must have been. And the other was brought back. Yeah, thanks for watching. Congrats to jfilipeg for the win here. Commiserations to Jennenn, but congrats on making it to the top cut. Good matches. Very interesting. This is a tricky deck, man. That's a scary one to run into if it's a close match, or if you have a deck that doesn't have answers to artifacts or key cheats or things like that. Like, there's no taxing, there's no artifact control. You kind of like the Collector Worm being one of the best answers you have in your deck, but it just doesn't answer everything. You're not purging stuff from discard. Stuff. Yeah, that Common Cold was brutal. I think if that board stays even one more turn, the game changes drastically, but that gave jfilipeg so much breathing room. Yeah, he started finding some stuff there after that. Again, it is definitely correct to get this down, but there's a chance that you are just in huge trouble as soon as you play that. Depending on what it discards turn 1. So still tricky, but all right, all. I'm gonna go get some dinner. Thank you so much for hanging out and watching. Be on the lookout for other KAGI games. I believe there's one in about, oh gosh, math, 15 hours. It's my Saturday morning. Captain Gale and who is that? Let's see. You can check out the events on there. I think Captain Gale is just streaming that one himself. Bastion. Captain Gale versus Bastion. So take a look on that one, and we will see you next time on Phlox'em. Take care, everybody. Bye.